Oh, there you are. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Thanks for having me, man. I didn't think I'd ever be an honored guest on your show, Gio.
Stop it.
I mean, hey, I didn't extend the invite
from
yeah.
Gio, Alex. You need to calm down.
I know,
How
Jesse. You know I love you.
Jesse?
Thank you for the invite.
Dear God. Thank you for coming on, Alex. Hey.
Happy to be here.
Tell us real quick, just to be 100%.
How do you say your name?
Is it Giaimo? Am I getting this?
So the correct pronunciation in Italian is actually Giaimo. You have it, but it's Giaimo. Just Giaimo.
Giaimo.
Oh, really? Okay.
Can you say it with an Italian accent?
Giaimo.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I
But
wanted.
it's just pronounced Giaimo. It's easier and uglier, but
Giaimo it is. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I that. Well, I'll tell you on the what's our goal here.
The overall goal is we're recording all of this.
We haven't had a goal in 3 years. I don't know.
Yeah, this is all going to be on the podcast, so just mind your P's and Q's going forward. We're going to talk.
What do you mean going forward? She didn't say anything bad yet.
I know. That's
wait. We've been recording this whole time.
We were recording the whole time you were walking around fixing your hair.
Yeah, we were talking, and it was really good. It was good content.
You're kidding.
No, you did everything just as if you would have if you were on camera and you knew. So, bottom line is. Talk to our lawyers. You can't sue us. We're using all of it. Alex, thank you for joining. Can you give us a little bit about your journey from working with the Jets to Golden? How did you get from there to here?
I always wanted to be a traditional sports broadcaster, so I went to Syracuse, did the whole journalism thing, and then from there I was in one-man band. I worked in Iowa, covered Big Ten Iowa Hawkeyes football, basketball. The Jets hired me as their official team reporter, sideline reporter, did that whole, shebang in 2016, 2017 when they were an absolute disaster. It was the year Ryan Fitzpatrick held out. I don't know if you guys remember that year.
Harvard
it was
boy.
Crazy.
Sure, Fitzy.
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah. The Pats absolutely destroyed them every year, as you know, Gio. From there, I've made my way around. I've, worked for NBC Sports in Boston. I worked for NBA 2K League, did esports reporting. I worked for the Mets, hosting for them. And then COVID hit, and I was like, I'm so tired of working so hard and not really being paid as I should be paid, or, I got no vacation days. I had no break. And COVID happened. I lost all my jobs, and I just started thinking to myself, how do I work smarter, not harder?
Yeah.
When a friend of mine, and actually your podcast, you guys, I learned about the hobby listening to your podcast.
Is that true?
I'm not just saying that to kiss your butt. It's true. I really did. I listened to your podcast.
I didn't know that.
And I listened to Card Talk a lot. And I learned about the hobby. I always loved collecting.
Go ahead. I said one out of two. Yeah, the delay is killing me. I'm sorry. I was going to say, 1 out of 2 podcasts there is not bad. So, okay. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I learned a lot. I really did. And I really did learn a lot, especially about the lingo with you, Gio. And Jesse, you have grown so much. I know you're not the sports boy, but I feel like your sports knowledge has grown tremendously since I've known you through the pod for 2 years.
You play basketball with a round ball.
This is why you had her on. So, you just wanted someone here to say nice things? Is this the whole...
She didn't even know I was on here. She thought it was just going to be you. It's fine. Okay. Alex,
oh, please.
You said you were doing e-game reporting. I'm sorry. I just glommed onto
esports. The NBA 2K game?
Yeah.
I was literally the girl that would walk around interviewing these dudes, sideline. It exists.
What was the smells like?
Oh God, honestly, Jesse, that was the hardest job I've ever done because one, I had to pretend like these boys were actual athletes. They thought they were at times too, and my boss was like, they put the NBA puts a lot of money into it. It's like a whole thing. We had a whole studio setting in Long Island City in New York. I had to pretend it was basketball, but it wasn't. That's a whole other lingo in itself. And I've obviously never played NBA 2K League.
You're literally talking about kids playing a game? That's what this is?
Esports. Yeah,
literally. And they make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. It's insane.
It's
I thought you were talking, she was interviewing the athletes. You're interviewing the kids playing the game?
Yeah, that's
what they thought they were athletes.
What's the percentage of these kids in their basement at their parents' house? Oh no, I guess if they're making hundreds of thousands, maybe they're not.
I don't want to come down on the esports community.
No, I don't mind. If you play video games for a living, we can come down on
that. Is a huge growing. This is like another K-pop.
Is it still a thing?
It's a very I don't know. I think our Walmart here in town had a little area carved out for people who wanted to play esports, up front in the front of it. They're doing this It's crazy. But in other countries, like especially like Japan and South Korea and stuff like that, this is gigantic. It's not always sports. It's like other like League of Legends and stuff like that.
What was the Fred Savage movie where he did this?
Oh, dang it.
See, that I could get behind.
Remember.
I don't need a 25-year-old at Walmart in sweatpants playing a video game against some kid in Nebraska.
Oh,
this is a real
The
thing.
NBA pays for them to like live. They feed them, they shelter them, and all they have to do is train playing these games, and they compete for a jackpot. I mean, it doesn't stop at NBA. It goes into Fortnite. It goes into Call of Duty. It goes and they compete for millions of dollars. It's absolutely wild.
That is a kind of
people are just watching this though.
Listen,
like that's what I mean. That's where the money comes from, right? People must be watching this.
I'm just telling you this, that they have moved like for new hires into like the Army and other branches of the military. They are using actual like video game remote controllers for them to be able to control Ender's Game. That's a great book and movie. They're using video game controllers for them to be able to control these actual real life like guns and stuff like that. So it translates for like guys playing in their living room to guys in the actual military. Why couldn't it translate for guys playing NBA 2K in their basement to actually on the court? Alex, can you tell us why?
Why couldn't it translate?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it was the hardest job of my life because to me, it does not translate. But to play devil's advocate, a lot of people will say the same thing about sports cards, Gio. Like everyone's like, it's just a piece of cardboard. It's just this.
But I don't have...
It's what we love, and some people are into it and some people are not. I, for one, wasn't into it, but they paid well, and that's what I had to do at the time. So there you go.
There is
do what you got to do.
There is no chance there's more than one woman. You must be the only woman at these events. I cannot imagine girlfriends are a thing.
Oh,
with
those guys get girls, dude. Those guys get girls. Trust me.
There are also female gamers. A couple females were in the league.
Yeah. This is
there's no size advantage in playing a video game. So a woman can obviously compete with the men, and some of them crush it.
I don't even know. You know that this podcast was going to be about this today.
Here's the deal. I get disappointed, honestly, and it's self-serving. I get disappointed the fact that we get paid what we get paid to talk about baseball cards.
You don't get disappointed about that.
Well, in humanity, I do. I like to cash the checks. I then find out that there's people getting paid because people watch them play a video game.
I watched a guy play Mario.
My confidence in humankind is at an all-time low.
Here's the thing.
I cannot believe this is a thing.
You watch people play basketball. You're essentially doing
real
the same
sport.
Yeah, but it's a sport because you deem it to be a talent. Those other guys are doing something that other people have deemed to be a talent, so they enjoy watching them do it well.
All right. Talk about cards. I'm sorry. I cannot believe this is a thing. I'm honestly...
Sorry, my bad. I brought it up.
No, I'm thrilled. I'm glad to hear something new. I just am shocked by this.
It is kind of crazy, though. I'm glad that there are reporters in the world. That is the most shocking thing. I didn't think there were reporters about this.
Well, keep going. Go to the next topic now. I don't know what else to do now. I have nowhere to go.
Okay, so you got to COVID, and that's where we stopped. What happened after COVID or during COVID?
And then I went into the wild world of the hobby. Like, I fell in love with my father's vintage baseball card collection because I'm a baseball girly. I love baseball so much. And no offense to you guys, this isn't about you. There's not a lot of people that do what I do in terms of bringing in the traditional broadcast side to this game.
No, I agree.
This crazy world we call the hobby.
Yeah, no offense.
Especially women. And a lot of us that do it are, not you guys. I love you guys, but they're boring. And 2 years ago, especially boring. And I said to my friend, like, I think I could do this. I think maybe I could start talking about this stuff and entertain people with it. And he was like, oh, you don't know anything about sports cards, blah, blah, blah. And he was right. Sports cards is a different world, a different lingo, a different language. For sure. But I started listening and navigating the world by listening to guys like you. And it really, if you do know sports and if you are passionate about it, which I was, you can make it work. And here I am. So I'm happy I did it because I love the hobby. Everyone's so fun. Not everyone, but
some people,
it's like a little club.
Okay, so I just saw you celebrated like 100,000 people on Instagram, like as far as followers go. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you. What do we have, 5?
We're at 18, I think. So
keep going, you guys.
Yeah. Be sure to plug this on your social media after this,
please
Alex.
Listen, I will. And also, it took me 11 years to get there. It didn't just happen overnight.
My goal is in 11 years, all social media is destroyed, period. That is my goal. I hate it.
Internet,
you know
really.
Yep.
Go back to horse and
I'm
buggy.
with you.
I just want to be in front of a microphone in my room. I don't even want to be with people.
The microphone's attached to nothing.
Alex can speak to this. I met Alex one time, and I told her as soon as she came and say hi, I was like, I don't like to talk to people in person.
Sure.
We should talk about our our first interaction,
Please,
Gio.
at Bleecker Trading, we had a big
Let me
trade
tell
night.
Yeah,
Go
please
ahead.
don't talk to
I was
me.
ready to throw her out of the room. Literally pick her up,
So-
and she was tiny. I could have thrown
you
her a
coulda done
mile.
it. You should have done it.
Oh my God!
Too bad.
So I felt like I knew Gio, right? Because I've listened to you and Jesse on the pod for a year. And I felt like I knew you, which is that's a compliment. I feel like the biggest compliment you can give to somebody, and one that I love, is somebody that's like, I feel like I already know you, Alex. So I finally was graced with the presence of Mike Giuseppe.
What a treat.
At Bleecker Trading. And Jesse, you know me, I did the same thing to you when I met you at the Mint Collective last year. I ran up to him, gave him a huge hug. I was like, hi, Gio, I'm Alex. So nice to meet you. He was like, I know you are.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he could not wait for me to like stop touching him, stop hugging him. He was like, I don't like, he's like, he was a different person in person than on pod. I'm a lot. I get it.
Well, no, to be fair, though.
Well, I was also going through some pretty savage mental stuff. But yeah, she comes running up, and my only thought was, I wonder if I could get away with a subtle headbutt. I was like, that'll give me just a subtle, like, there we go.
God.
I was uncomfortable the whole event. I hadn't been out. COVID ruined me for in-person things. I'm slowly getting back. But yeah, I got this person just jumping around happy, and I was like, I want to go lay in traffic.
Why is this person happy? It's gross.
Yeah, and we ended up having a great time that night at the Bleecker thing. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I've decided next time I meet you, I'm going to act like a normal human being and shake your hand and have a conversation. That's where I'm at.
I'll be
chiller.
There you go. And I'll be somewhat normal. How about that?
There we go.
I'm not trying to kill myself this year, so it's a lot better mental space.
Dude, you talk about your mental status like you were in some week. You may have had a couple of frowny days. You were fine most of the time.
Isn't depression just a fancy way of saying bummed out?
Bummed out?
Okay, get back on the rails.
Right. So you just got 100,000 followers on Instagram. I am curious, what were your numbers before the Golden TV show and after? What kind of bump did that give you, both on social media and in person?
Honestly, not. Sorry, I cut you off, the delay. Honestly, not as big of a bump as I would have hoped for. I think I gained around 37,000, which is a lot, but it's really not in terms of when you do a reality show. I was kind of pissed about it and it's not about a vanity thing at all. It's just about, as you guys know, numbers, not the numbers game and monetization, right? The more followers I get, the more checks the bigger the check I can get from a company. So I got around 37,000. It's pretty much stopped. So I guess I got to post more, but I hate posting to Instagram. I don't like Instagram either, Gio.
Thank you.
So around 37,000. I was hoping honestly for 100,000 because I've been watching these women who go on these dumbass dating shows and they come out with 300, 400,000 followers. They have no talent. They're not even that cute. It's just what is it? But then I realized it's because most of our audience is probably men who aren't really on social as Instagram as much. And it's just a different demographic. But what I will say, which I'm pretty proud of, is my engagement is pretty high, and I love engaging with my followers and my people, and that's really all that matters when it comes down to it.
So I know. So you're still with Golden, by the way, correct? Right now, that's a full-time job right now. Is that your day-to-day?
Or is it
no, I don't. I've never worked a full-time job in my life.
I was gonna say it's not full-time. I'm sure when you're off, or do you have a job with them, or is that only for the show?
No, I've been working for Ken for 2 years now. I work when they need me.
Yeah.
I'm freelancer, so I also work for Major League Baseball Network. I work for a bunch of different companies. Okay. My role with MLB Network will probably be a lot bigger shortly. But yeah, I freelance for Ken, and I host things when they need and when I'm available.
So what was the overall reaction to the show? I am curious. As far I know, it was in the top 10, for the first week or so. But obviously that's the initial release. Since then, how have people reacted? Do you think there's going to be another season? Thoughts there?
Okay, so off the bat, another season. I really hope so. We had literally no budget for the show. We had no idea how it was going to turn out. So I'm pretty proud of the product we put forward. The first time I actually watched it was probably the same time you guys watched it. You guys might have seen it before me. I was afraid to watch it. So hopefully Netflix realizes that. And we were 9 in the US, but we were also 5 in Australia, UK. We were actually bigger internationally in Portugal and Spain. All over the place. I said Australia, New Zealand.
That's cool.
But overall, the reaction I know I'm biased, but the reaction has been outstanding. And in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. I was worried about the hobby's reaction and guys like you, Gio, like the old school guys.
Sure.
But what really matters the most is if you want to be successful on a global platform, it doesn't really, the hobby doesn't matter. It does matter that we wanted to please you. But it needed to be a show that was appealing to a larger demographics, which is why it wasn't just about sports, right? It was about culture. It was about music. They wanted women to watch. Women did. I had my mother's friends who are in their 60s love it. I also had my little brother's 27-year-old boys love it. So it needed to be a show that was appealing to a wider demographic. And I think we did that. And at the time, while we were filming, most of our producers had no idea what the hobby was. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be an absolute disaster. Like, what do they know about the hobby? Blah, blah, blah. The Beanie Baby scene, like me and Ken were like suspect about even shooting that because we thought like the hobby, blah, blah, blah. But that might be the most popular scene in the entire series, you know, Jesse? So
what was the, like, so that was not just a bit, you're actually a Beanie Babies collector, right?
Yeah, I mean, not anymore. I was when I was younger, and my grandfather obviously added a lot to that. Like, I couldn't afford all those Beanie Babies, so it was...
Those are expensive back in the day. I remember, like, buying one for, like, $15-20, and, like, that was, like, in the early 2000s.
I don't remember Beanie.
You were never got into the Beanie Baby.
I don't think so. But however, hang on. To the point you just...
What was the value of that? Before we jump topics, this is the last question. I am curious. Your collection alone of Beanie Babies... you had a professional on. That guy was saying, like, the guy who actually collected the mint condition, all that, he had an extraordinary collection that was valued at, I don't remember how much, but it was thousands and thousands of dollars.
It was like 9,000, yeah.
What was your collection of Beanie Babies?
So she didn't, Dr. Lori was a female. She didn't actually appraise mine because there wasn't enough time for that. Like, she got paid to be on the show for that hour. But I would say the collection is probably around $6,000. And honestly, what does that even mean, you guys? Like, you have to sell the Beanie Babies, and there's not a huge market for Beanie Babies at all right now, if anything.
Well, just the fact that it came up
how much
on a
time
show,
do you have, right? So
yeah, I couldn't believe that. I just couldn't believe that it came back up on a show, like a modern day TV show. People are talking about buying and selling Beanie Babies. I didn't think that was still a thing at all. But I thought since you actually had a collection, I wasn't sure if you knew much more about it.
I thought that was a good point, though, because here's the thing. Realistically, as a hobby, like if I'm just going to go deep into the hobby trenches, like some of the stuff I saw, I was like, okay, that's not entirely factual. Some of the numbers were a little juiced. But my overall takeaway, though, was actually kind of what you just said. I hate to agree with you and your bubbliness, but but it is true. Like, who cares about the 8,000 hobby guys who are going to watch this? We want to bring in 3.5 million people who are not in the hobby, because maybe 0.1% of those people will then say, oh, I actually want to get back in the car. I do think that's a point that gets missed on the hobby. We're such a small community still. It's like, oh, but he said this Jordan's worth 50,000. It's really, the current comps are 30. It's like, yeah, bro, that's cool. The point of the show was to bring 80,000 new people in so that the comp goes back to 50. So I do think, I thought from a TV show, though, I watched some with my wife, and she was very entertained by it. So I thought, in that regard, I was like, success.
That was always my point, getting into the hobby, Gio, like, first and foremost, like I was a hobby newbie a year and a half, 2 years ago. I didn't know anything about it, but my goal was to bring in more people, plain Janes, plain Joes, more eyeballs, the better, the more money in our pockets, the more exposure, the better. So that was also my role as the narrator on the show. I wanted to put like this terminology into more layman's terms so that outsiders that don't know jack about the hobby could learn about it. And my friends would be texting me for weeks and weeks, like I'm going down the rabbit hole. What is this sports card breaking? What is that? What is this? What is grading? How do I do this? And that was my goal on the show. And I think I did a pretty good job about that too. So like they wrote the scripts for my narrations, not gonna lie, but I rewrote them to put them more into my own lingo language to make them more palatable to the average person.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So what are you doing now? What's going forward?
Hobby-wise.
Hobby-wise, yeah.
Hobby-wise, I work for MLB Network. Were you guys at the Fenway Card Show? Gio, aren't you out there in Mass? Year.
I moved my whole family down there.
There's two people on this show. She only says Gio, like she's only talking to you. It's upsetting to me.
Well, Jesse, I
like it.
also feel like I don't realize that you guys are actually together. Like now that I'm looking at you, I thought you filmed from different locations.
We're touching.
This is the new
touched.
studio.
So you both live in Massachusetts then?
No. We're both in Nashville.
We both live in
We moved
Nashville.
the whole family down.
He
from,
moved
No
to me.
way.
He came to live with me
Yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah, I've been in Nashville for 16 since I got married in 08. 16,
Yeah, so almost
17 years.
Yeah.
I just started dating someone from Tennessee, so maybe I'll make
Where
a
in
trip out there
Tennessee?
and bug you,
What
Gio.
city in Tennessee? Middle?
Where's
East,
this
or
person
west?
from? What city?
No, it's like in the middle of nowhere, like on like the I guess the eastern side or the western side of Tennessee, like on the lake area.
So they're rich. I get it. Okay.
No, like
Makes sense.
closer to Knoxville over
Oh,
there.
that's east.
Yeah. Okay.
East-
That's a
eastern
nice part of
Eastern
What are
the-
you dating, a
Tennessee, yeah.
college kid?
That's a
What's
nice
going
part
on
of
here?
Tennessee. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're off subject. So you're working with MLB Network. What else are you doing? Anything
Yeah,
else?
so MLB Network, there's a show called Carded. It's literally a show just dedicated to baseball cards. So I went to the Fenway Card Show a couple weeks ago. I interviewed, and this episode comes out in another week or two. I interviewed Big Papi, which was amazing for me. He was my favorite player growing up, Pedro Martinez. And I talked to them about baseball cards, and it was pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
And it was awesome. And the show it's the first time it's been on the network. We're getting really good reviews. So hopefully by this time next year, it's more of a weekly show as opposed to a monthly show. So that's exciting.
Very cool.
I hadn't even heard
And
of
then
it. That's cool.
I have other stuff in the works. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about publicly yet, but like picture like me working for one of like the bigger up and coming brands that are pretty much taking over and monopolizing the industry. So that's
Does the
coming up
company
as well.
run
I'm
with
excited about that.
Schmanatics? See?
Is
Maybe,
there
I don't
a
know.
run?
No.
That's a yes. You heard it here first.
And of course, I always work for Golden. So.
She just broke an NDA right there.
There she
Perfect.
did. Yep. I
Yep.
like it. Well,
Coin
we'll
it.
leave it at that. Alex, thank you very, very much for joining the show today. We really do appreciate it.
We'll see you at the National, I'm assuming. You'll be in
Yeah.
Chicago?
Heck yeah, I'll see you guys there. Jesse, thanks for having me. It was so much fun.
In Chicago,
Thanks, Alex.
I would like to
appreciate
have
it.
a 2-minute or less conversation like a normal person this time.
Can I film it?
Then
If
we'll
I
make
see
it
her
awkward.
I
coming,
think-
if I see her coming, I'm breaking out the camera.
Jesse, please film it. Oh my god.
Yeah, perfect.
I need you to give him a hug because then it'll just shut down he'll go straight back to awkward if you give him a hug.
No.
Oh,
just
he's
get
gonna
angry.
get a squeeze.
Yeah.
He knows he's gonna get a squeeze. Oh yeah.
I'm excited.
All right.
Thanks again, Alex.
Yep.
Have a great
Thanks
one.
for jumping on.
Bye guys. Thanks for
Bye.
having me.
We'll see you.